The IEC says that most voting stations officially closed their doors by 9 p.m., but several voting stations allowed voters to cast their votes after the closing time in Ermelo, Mpumalanga. For more on that now, let's cross live to the Results Operations Center in Mpumalanga, where our reporter Dumelo Mashoko is standing by. A very good morning to you, Dumelo. Tell us what's happening there in Mpumalanga. I know that we'd had some issues. They ran out of ballot papers, and yesterday there was some issues with IEC officials. Take us through what's going on at the moment there at the IEC Center where you're at in Mpumalanga.
Well, good morning, Flo. Everyone here is trying to barely keep awake because everyone has been awake since the early hours of morning on Wednesday. So everyone here is trying really barely, they're barely awake here this morning, trying to just count the votes. The votes have started coming in from all the 1,772 voting districts. So far, all of those districts have not finished all of the district in around the province, but so far we know that about 5,833 votes have now been counted provincially in terms of provincially. And you'd remember that 1.9 million voters registered to vote in the province, in Mpumalanga province just alone. So far the votes that have been counted, it's only about 5,833. The ANC is leading there with about 68.03%. So far they have about 3,963 votes, being followed there by the EFF, which they have now about 670 votes, and the DA is just right behind the EFF with about 583 votes. The FFF Plus is also making inroads here in the province. They have about 372. So far they didn't have a member in the legislature, so it seems like if this is anything to go by, they will have a member in the legislature, in the Mpumalanga legislature, because of what they have so far. There are about 28 parties that have registered to vote, that have registered in the province so far, so those parties are showing results. But so far, other parties like the new parties like the ATM, they are right behind with about 10 votes that have been counted so far. But you remember that only 5,000 votes have been, about 5,800 votes has already been counted for. You remember this province has had like many issues, especially with voting. With voting in the morning, in yesterday morning, there were many protests in Akonhoek and also in Showela village in just outside Hazeview, where residents there were actually preventing people to go and vote, threatening community members not to go to vote because they're saying that they don't have water, they don't have electricity, and also they don't have roads in their community. So they were threatening people not to go to vote. So those have been disruptions that we have seen in the province, and also the fact that some of the polling stations had to stop for about an hour because they didn't have enough ballot papers in the regions, because in Matafeni, just outside Mbombela, they didn't have enough ballot papers, so people had to wait for about an hour to wait for ballot papers to be fetched from another voting station so that they can be given to them. But so far everyone here is trying to make sure that they stay awake tonight because the voting are coming in. Let me just give you, Lungile will just give you a pen into what we can see on the screen there. I know it's not going to be very, very clear, but the votes are coming in, and they are coming in very slowly here in Mpumalanga. In Mpumalanga, you'd remember only about 1.9 million, just over 1.9 million voters have registered to vote in the province, and so far only about 5,833 votes have already been counted. They're counting very slowly because you remember Mpumalanga is quite a rural province, so some of these votes have to be transported to the big cities so that they can start being counted because of these because of the ruralness of the provinces. So they have to transport some of the vote and the votes and also the ballot boxes to the areas where they need to be started to be counted. Only those votes have now been counted. It's going to be a long night for political parties. We've seen some of them have already left. So we've seen some of them sleeping because at this point they're just trying to make sure that they stay awake to the early hours of the morning. But so far only about 5,833 votes have been counted, and they're still coming in, and they're still coming in, and they're hoping that by early in the morning more votes would have been counted in the province, and they will give us like a good number of how many votes have been counted so far. But you remember, let's just give you a background again of how many votes have so far been counted. 5,833, and the ANC is leading there with 3,963, and the EFF is just right behind them, and also the FF Plus, which is like making a big inroads in this province, which is like the new block on the new kid on the block. You remember that parties like such as the BRA, the Better Residents Association have done very well in this province, but so far we have not seen them in the top lead. They're just right there with the other parties that are still under about 10 votes at this stage. But we've seen, but it's still early to actually say which party will do the best here. But so far we've seen that the ANC is leading, but we don't know in which region, because now the votes are only coming in, but also the votes will continue being counted as the day progresses, and also we will also be watching out on how the province did nationally, and will also report on those issues, and also report on issues that have happened in terms of ballot papers not being delivered to the people, if people manage to vote in all those regions where the ballot papers could not reach the people right on time. Flo?
Right, Dumelo, thank you very much. Coming to us from Mpumalanga there, and as you said, the ANC in the lead, EFF up next, closely followed. I wouldn't say close, but yeah, they're there. And the DA and FF Plus also coming up in that top four. But at this point, only 54 voting districts have been completed. That's 3.05% of those votes counted in Mpumalanga. Dumelo keeping an eye on that. I can see our cameraman in Mpumalanga doing some serious work there, trying to keep focus on that scoreboard. But we'll keep in touch with Dumelo and, of course, Palesa, who's in the Free State throughout the morning. Do stay with us. Let's take a short break.